Hello friends, welcome to Shriram's. The topic for today's discussion is National Income and Women. National accounts as we know them were created in 1930s by Richard Stone and James Mead with support from John Maynard Keynes and Simon Kuznets. The idea was to revive the economy from Great Depression, for which measuring the output was essential so that it could be regulated. The method was intended to provide a comprehensive and up-to-date picture of the entire national economy by estimating monetary value of all economic production that took place in a country in a given year. What is the meaning of economic activity within the GDP? It includes all transactions in the market. It means all goods and services that are meant to be sold in the marketplace. Is it not a major lacuna in the scope of GDP that it excludes trillions of worth of work at home done mostly by women? Indeed it is. GDP calculations all over the world do not include unpaid labor, which is usually the household work of women. It is the invisibility of the female labor. Women do not accept high-paying jobs to take care of family work. They are assigned the work of caring for children, old people, and others at home, cooking, cleaning, taking care of health and education of children. Hundreds of millions of women worldwide have to walk more than a 30-minute round trip to reach clean water for their families. How did a section of economists react to the exclusion of it from statistics? The exclusion created a backlash. Many progressive scholars argued that male economic production was impossible without women's uncompensated, non-economic labor. For instance, without a wife to tend to the children and the home, how could a male factory laborer have the time or energy to fulfill his stereotypical role as the breadwinner? What attempts are being made to rectify the gaps in the GDP estimates? A 2009 report commissioned by the then French President Nicolas Sarkozy and chaired by Joseph Stiglitz stated that because GDP is treated as a measure of economic well-being, it can lead to misleading indications about how well-off people are and entail the wrong policy decisions. More recently, the World Bank pointed out that GDP only measures flows of income but doesn't tell us whether healthcare, education, and the wealth of the natural world are being built up or depleted. The Economist Journal called for a new metric of economic progress that included unpaid work in the home, such as caring for relatives. According to data from the OECD, women in India spend on average almost 6 hours a day doing household work, at least 40% more than women in China or South Africa, and almost 6 times as much as Indian men. What are the consequences of not counting and monetizing the contribution of women for domestic work? It perpetuates the perception that women are dependent and unproductive merely because their work is unpaid. It leaves them without any autonomy and decision-making power. It transmits such distortions through generation. It causes great harm to equality, dignity, and individuality of women. Is India making any progress in this regard? Recently, the National Sample and Survey Organization has recognized the problem and is attempting to measure at least the value of cooking and cleaning by women at home. It should ideally be taken to the next logical step, and a basic income policy should be instituted for the financial autonomy of women. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast.